What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for PlayPicks.com and TheLines.com, and we are back. It is time. It is NFL 2019. I'm excited. You're excited. Let's get down to it here. Obviously, here at PlayPicks and The Lines, bigger and better season than before. As you can see, just like last year, going to have a written breakdown over here on PlayPicks.com, so you can head to PlayPicks and get a full written breakdown of this Steelers and Patriots game here on Sunday Night Football. You can also head over to thelines.com, which is something we are pretty excited about. And we have a odds feed now that is live on the site. As you see, you can scroll down here and you can take a look, toggle back and forth between money line and spread and total. You can even take a look at the odds over in Pennsylvania as well whenever we take a look at the odds feed here. So be sure and take advantage of that on thelines.com. Throughout the course of the season, this thing is only going to get better as the season goes along as well. Maybe add some more books in there, maybe get some other cool features that you will enjoy. So be sure and take a look at thelines.com/odds to take a look at the odds feed here in this one. But of course, we are talking about Sunday Night Football here on the PlayPicks channel. If you guys watched the videos last year, you know how this works. We're going to try to give you some actual facts here that can help you get to where you want to get whenever you go to make your bet on this game here. No jumping up and down, no locks of the century, none of that crazy stuff that you're going to see on all the other channels. We're just trying to help you become a better sports bettor here with actual real information that you can use to make a smart bet throughout the course of the NFL season here. Guys, of course, subscribe, like this vid. Tell us in the comments who you're going with tonight, who you are betting on, how your weekend went, all the different stuff like that. We want to have interaction. We certainly want to talk to you guys, so be sure and do that. And of course, if you want to take advantage of any of this stuff, you know, that you see here and you want to bet at some of the legal sports books across the country of ours, go to PlayPicks/bonus with all of the offers that you can find. Any of the legal sports books across the country, all of the best offers there on PlayPicks.com/bonus. All right, let's take a look at this game here, Steelers and Patriots. Weather, mid-60s, about 65 degrees at kickoff. Little cloudy, that's about it. No rain in the forecast, no wind to speak of. So pretty much perfect playing conditions in this one for the Steelers and the Patriots here. Patriots, obviously, coming off a Super Bowl win, don't have to tell you that. You know, this team is the defending Super Bowl champions here, coming back with the majority of the team from last year. Of course, Gronk did retire, but then yesterday they go and they sign Antonio Brown. Of course, that doesn't play into this game that we're handicapping here because he cannot play on Sunday night. So we're just talking about the players that are going to be there. Josh Gordon reinstated for this Patriots team as well. Steelers went 9-6-1 last year, actually missed the playoffs. They added Dante Moncrief as wide receiver 2, of course, with Antonio Brown out of town. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be your unquestioned number 1 wide receiver in town there. And then they added Devin Bush, inside linebacker. Of course, they were missing that piece in this defense. They were really, really missing that inside linebacker piece there. And it was a big, big get for them to get Devin Bush in the draft here. If we're going to take a look at the odds here, start over at DraftKings. This has actually moved to 6 here at DraftKings, as you can see. Patriots favored by 6, total of 49. If we look over here at William Hill, still at 5.5, total of 49 here as well. Over at FanDuel, we'll take a look, still at 5.5, total of 49 at these two places. So obviously, if you're looking to get the plus points here, you want to take the dog, you want to head over to DraftKings where you are getting 6 as opposed to 5.5. If you're looking for the Patriots here over on the East Coast, you can head to either William Hill or FanDuel. Either one of those going to get you 5.5 over there. Caesars is at 5.5 as well, so is PointsBet. Both of those are at 5.5, so really you could choose any of those books if you're looking to get on the Patriots here. Patriots getting about 60% of the bets in this one, but only about 44% of the money. So you can see a lot of big bets coming in on the Steelers plus the points in this thing. If we're talking injuries and how we want to kind of look at this game, rookie N'Keal Harry, obviously for the Patriots, got placed on IR. I'm sure you saw that news here. He will not be with the team. Tight end Ben Watson, this isn't an injury, but he is going to be serving a suspension to begin the season, so he will not be out on the field for them. Demaryius Thomas, of course, the guy that they signed, they cut, then they re-signed. He is expected to play, but is dealing with a hamstring issue there. he's kind of down the pecking order anyway. Not expected to make a huge impact on this team, but something to take note of. And tight end Matt Lacoste, of course, we just mentioned Ben Watson suspended, so Matt Lacoste is going to be filling in for him in the tight end role, dealing with an ankle injury. So tight end position pretty thin there for this Patriots team. On the Steelers side of the ball, Joe Hayden questionable with an ankle injury. I'll continue to scroll down here if you want to try and read along on the written content over there at PlayPicks as well on this. On the offensive side of the ball, we'll talk about the Steelers here. Averaged 26.8 points per game last season, as well as 403.3 yards per game. 8th best team in the league in converting on third downs. Huge, as you know, being able to keep your defense off the field. They're not continually going back out there, getting tired, getting worn down. Converting these third downs keeps these drives going, as you know. Pittsburgh, one of the most pass-heavy teams in the league in the NFL last year, threw the ball on 67.3% of the time. For reference, the Patriots only threw the ball about a little shy of 55% of the time. So you can see Steelers threw the ball just a ton more than the Patriots did. Of course, they do have James Conner, who is now the unquestioned number one there. Le'Veon Bell out of town, of course. Jalen Samuels to back him up, another guy that they're pretty high on. And then, of course, they drafted Benny Snell Jr. as well. So they do have the run game here. I imagine they will try to be at least a little bit more balanced this year than being so incredibly pass heavy. The offensive line returns all 5 starters, a really good unit here for this team. On the Patriots side of the ball, scroll down a little bit further so you can continue reading here on playpicks.com. Patriots, you don't really think of this Patriots team as a run first team, but they were actually incredibly run heavy. The addition of Sony Michel really opened things up here. And this is a team that, as you know, really rotates in a ton of backs. They keep a ton of backs. They still have Rex Burkhead. They still have James White. Of course, they drafted a running back as well, who may actually be inactive tonight, depending on how they decide to roll things out here. But, you know, Rex Burkhead is actually healthy. This is a guy that's had trouble staying healthy throughout the course of his career. So you would have him, you would have James White, you would have Sony Michel as well. So having all 3 of those guys, not sure how many they're going to keep active in this game here. But offensive line, actually a little bit weaker than last year for this Patriots team. Lost one of their key pieces over to the Raiders. Their center is also going to be out for at least a few weeks. He's dealing with an illness. So there are some things here on this Patriots offensive line maybe that could cause a little bit of havoc. And the reason I say that could cause a little bit of havoc here is because his defense for the Steelers just loves to put pressure on the quarterback. This is one of the just most incredible teams when it comes to putting pressure on the quarterback here. 13th overall for the Steelers last year, DVOA, but tied for the NFL lead in sacks last year, second in quarterback hits. They were first in adjusted sack rate, and then second in quarterback pressures. So this is a team that, again, Tom Brady, it's another year. I understand he is bionic and he's got all, the TB12 health system, and he only eats plants from exotic islands that him and his wife get flown in every single day on some private jet from, people that are working on their own personal farm or whatever. I get all these things. I know the guy is a superhuman, but he is a year older, and we do know that he'll take a self-sack, right? Tom Brady doesn't want to get hit, certainly not fleet of foot, not a guy that's going to ever escape using his feet. So if they can get a lot of pressure on him, he's a guy that's just fall over. He doesn't want to take any of that punishment at the quarterback position. So something to keep an eye on there as well. If the Steelers are able to get as much pressure on the quarterback again this year as they were last year, that this is something that we're going to certainly keep an eye on. I'll flip over here to the odds in this game so you can kind of take a look at those as we continue to talk about this thing here. As you see on the money line, Steelers plus 220, Patriots minus 250 in this thing. Patriots defense, as you know, it's like one of those bend but don't break defenses. This is a defense that'll give you a little yards, give you the yards between the 20s, and then you get in the red zone and something clicks, something happens. They are very, very good at keeping teams out of the end zone once they get into the red zone. This Patriots defense has just been living on this for the last few years. I imagine that the scheme will stay relatively the same here because it's worked for them. As you can see, through all these Super Bowls they continue to win and get to. So I imagine that this will be pretty much the same game plan for this team here. So one of the other things I think we can look at from a defensive aspect here is their all-world corner in Stephon Gilmore is certainly going to shadow Juju Smith-Schuster. He did this last year, week 15, held Juju Smith-Schuster to just 40 yards in that game. I imagine just again, and one thing Gilmore will do that a lot of guys, even when they're shadowing, they don't do. So say the Steelers are like, okay, we're going to try to be really sneaky. We're going to move Juju into the slot because we don't want him getting shadowed by Stephon Gilmore. Well, Gilmore is one of the few shadow corners that actually goes into the slot, and he actually will follow Juju there if that's the case, and that's how the Steelers try to, get some sort of mismatch, however it might be. Stephon Gilmore going to be all up in Juju's face all night long is kind of my thought here. So again, as we look into this season, guys, this is kind of how for the first few weeks, at least the first couple of weeks, we're going to have to kind of just project how things are going to go. I don't have statistics for you that you're going to get later in the season on where these teams match up from their offensive line play, defensive line play, how their corners are stacking up, how their sacks are doing, how their pressure rate is doing on the offensive side, how their pass blocking and run blocking units are doing. So all of that stuff I'll have for you week 3, week 4 and beyond, and stuff that we can really start to use to handicap these games and in our bets. So right now we have to project here. Project the Steelers team to have one of the best lines in the NFL, at least a top 10 line, if not a top 5 line. A little bit of question marks from the offensive line on the Patriots side of the ball. Expect the Steelers to try and blitz a lot. Expect them to get all up in Tom Brady's face and use pressure. And Tom Brady, in return, is probably going to come back with a bunch of short passes. I mean, we've seen this time and time again, how the Patriots will adjust to what defenses are doing. And if they want to put pressure in Tom Brady's face all day long, I expect a ton of little short passes over the middle. Julian Edelman getting involved a ton. And then just setting up for a couple of those big bombs, hopefully downfield to Josh Gordon is what they'll be kind of looking to do on the offensive side of the ball to combat all of that pressure that's coming from the Steelers in this game here. Now, if we're looking at the totals in this game at 49, pretty much universally here, certainly at the books we're looking at in DraftKings and William Hill and at FanDuel here, we're still sitting at 49 at all of these books here. Let's make the case for the over in this one. I think the case for the over here, how this plays out is pretty simple. This Steelers team comes out not affected by being on the road on the first game of the year. Of course, veteran quarterback, veteran coach, and they come out and they actually get up on the Patriots maybe even a couple scores, 10 points, 14 points in this. If that were the case for the over here, the reason I see this really shooting over at that point is because the Patriots are going to get away from the tendencies that they want. And as we mentioned, and that's actually being a run-first team, being a team that really wants to run the ball, establish the ball, and run the ball a ton. If the Patriots have to, at that point, kind of abandon what they typically have been doing, then we're going to see this team already, as far as pace goes in this game, already two fast-paced teams. Both of these teams really like to push the pace in games as it is anyway. And then if the Patriots have to push that pace and continue along with what they're doing, except it's passing the ball as opposed to running the ball, then certainly a way I can see this game getting over here if you're leaning that direction. The way this game might get under here, as we mentioned, this Patriots team is a run-first team. And what happens when you're a run-first team? The clock just continues to go and go and go. If you're not throwing incomplete passes, the clock is not stopping. Huge red zone loss in Gronk as well. So you can't discount the fact that when the Patriots get down there, are they going to be able to punch it in the end zone every time, or are they going to have to settle for field goals? Gronk was so incredibly valuable in the red zone. We cannot discount how valuable Gronk was in the red zone here. Could lead maybe to a lower scoring game if they can't actually punch it in the end zone. Another thing to think about here is, will they be able to move the ball vertically in big chunks here? Josh Gordon, yeah, he got reinstated, but this was only a couple weeks ago. He hadn't had the full camp to get completely up to speed on everything. What is his conditioning like? All these things we don't know here and could lead to an under in this one. And another thing that could happen is Stephon Gilmore just completely shuts down Juju Smith-Schuster, and the Steelers aren't able to get on the board as often as they like. So another way is for us to continue to maybe talk ourselves into the under if that is the way that we're leaning here. Looking at some of these player props that I think are pretty interesting and could be correlated to how you think the game is going to go. If you think this game could end up being a complete shootout, you have Ben Roethlisberger over here passing yards at over 279.5. However, if you click over to FanDuel over here and you take a look, and we'll click on the player props here, you can look at Ben Roethlisberger's passing yards over here, and you can see that it's set at 290.5. So if you think this game ends up more on the ground, you think it's more of a defensive battle, you don't think it's going to get any sort of shootout, you head over to FanDuel and you take the under 290. I mean, pretty big discrepancy here between 279 and 290 between the two sites. So getting an extra 11 yards over at FanDuel if you're looking to take the under in this thing for Ben Roethlisberger passing yards. So certainly something I'm going to keep an eye on. I think this game, actually, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the under, a little bit more towards kind of a battle. So I might lean more towards the under 290 on Ben Roethlisberger over at FanDuel when it comes down to that. As far as the I just mentioned the total, leaning a bit towards the under here. What we do know is if I'm going to bet the under here, I'm going to wait till right before kickoff. I can't imagine that this thing's going to drop any further than 49 as it is right now. But as we know with these island games, and certainly once the public gets involved, and certainly once people start chasing bets that they lost throughout the course of the day, these totals tend to trickle up a little bit. People like to root for scores, and certainly the public likes to root for scores. They don't like to root for a defensive stalemate or anything like that. So I'm actually going to hold out and try and take the under. I think this thing could get to 50-50.5. I think it's within the realm of possibility with this being week one, everyone being super excited to get in and bet, especially with these markets, legal markets opening up across the country. I think we can get a couple extra points here. Now, as far as the 6 goes, DraftKings really the only book out there at 6. All the rest of them, of course, we mentioned William Hill and FanDuel are both still at 5.5 on this one. I can see this thing maybe moving to 6 at these other 2. Will it come off the 6 at DraftKings? Don't really know. It really just depends on if there's any sort of regional bias, any East Coast stuff going on over there. Of course, the Patriots, super popular, coming off the Super Bowl. People like to bet the favorites. People like to bet the sure thing. People like to bet Tom Brady. Will this thing get to 6.5? I don't know. I don't know. I don't imagine it's going to get back down, though, to 5.5. So, again, I like to take the Steelers and the points here in this one. I actually feel if I feel like this thing is going to be a low scoring kind of knock it down, drag out fight, then I would be leaning more towards the Steelers and the points here. Maybe you'll get 6.5, maybe not. Certainly if you're going to go that direction, you're going to head to DraftKings because you're getting that extra half point and getting it to the full 6 with the Steelers in this thing. But I think the Steelers keep it a little bit closer here than maybe the experts think. I have not made a play on this one quite yet, but leaning towards the under, leaning towards the Steelers, likely going to be the direction I go in this one. Guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Please like it. Please subscribe to the page. Head over to Play Picks, and of course, you can read the full breakdown of the game here and Eston McLaren's thoughts on this thing. Very talented writer, someone who knows his stuff, so you can see how he feels about how this thing's going to go. And again, try out thelines.com/odds. You're going to be able to get a little odds feed here of all the legal books in Jersey and in Pennsylvania. As you can see, you can toggle between the money line, spread, total, all those things. So pretty awesome little thing we have going here, and certainly look to improve it as the season progresses. Guys, thanks for the video. Thanks for watching the video. Really, really appreciate you doing this. We'll be back for Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football. We're going to have all kinds of programming across this channel, hopefully helping you make some money this season. Good luck. See you guys tomorrow.